What's up, everyone? This is the Teach One podcast. I am your host, Tyrone Richardson. I am here with Mr. Daquan Wilson. Daquan Wilson is a reading coach at Lockhart Elementary School in Tampa, Florida.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So he's a reading coach down there. Tell me a little bit about Lockhart.
Yeah, man. So Lockhart Elementary Magnet is in the heart of East Tampa community. We primarily serve African American students. That is our highest population. It is a magnet school. Our magnet focus is STEM focused. So our goal is to really teach students how to be critical thinkers, how to be problem solvers, and really how to be change agents, because they are the future.
So when we talk about elementary, is it pre-K5? Is it K5, K6?
Yeah, so it is PK through 5, so we do have Head Start, and we go all the way up to 5th grade.
Okay, and STEM school for the early ages too, like pre-K and all that, they get the STEM focus?
Yeah, so when we think about STEM, we really try and collaborate with our teachers to integrate STEM into all subject areas. I know sometimes teachers have the misconception that STEM is just only science and math, but we really try to teach them how to integrate that into reading, writing, and different things like that. So students can really have the full experience of, STEM being in different content areas.
All right, now you yourself, as a reading coach, you did start as a teacher, right?
Yes, I did.
If you don't mind me asking, how long you been in the game? How old are you?
Yes, so I am 29, soon to be 30, in about a month in October. But this is my 7th year in education. So I taught for about 4 years, and then my 5th year is when I started to transition into coaching. The first year I was a teacher talent developer. So what that looks like is I was in the classroom for half the day, and the other half of the day I was coaching, and then now I'm full-time coaching. All
right, well, time out. Let's slow down a little bit. Daquan, where are you from?
Okay, so I'm born in St. Pete. Okay, born in St. Pete, but if you ask people, I would really say Tampa. I was in St. Pete till I was about 3 years old.
Okay.
Ever since then, I've been in Tampa. So I'm really a Tampa native. Elementary school, grade school, that's all Tampa.
Okay, so you came from Tampa. And second of all, happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's coming up for sure. 30 is a milestone. Love to make it to 30. What was your upbringing like? How was school like for you? What schools did you go to?
So I would say all schools I went to actually are similar to the school that I'm in now, and that's kind of what makes me so passionate about it. I know what the kids are like. Really, my upbringing, a lot of adversities. You know what I'm saying? Just a kid coming from poverty and trying to just make a difference in the world. All of my schools I went to were considered the low-income schools, things like that. Coming from a single parent, my mom, handled everything. So that's kind of how that was growing up.
You got any siblings?
Yeah, so I have 3 sisters, and then I have 2 brothers.
Okay, so big family.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming up in the Tampa school system.
Yeah,
all right,
all of us.
All of you. What type of student were you?
Different than what I am now. I'm not gonna lie, different than I am now. I would say coming up, I think I was always seeking attention. You know what I'm saying? Just looking for somebody to see me, for real. So I did that in a way that I wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
The misbehaving, and things like that. But it took me some time to really grow up and become mature, I'll say. So now, I'm more in tune with my emotions and, know how to handle that and things like that.
Okay, so getting into a little bit of trouble, as we sometimes do.
Right.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Not gonna lie, it was math. I don't even know how I switched to reading. I don't know, but in school it was math. But I think, once we started getting into like trigonometry and calculus and things like that, that's when I started to lose my interest.
Start getting hard.
I like the simple math. Yeah, I like the simple math. The simple math was the way to go for me.
Okay, and so in school, what type of grades did you get in school?
Oh, A's and B's. I had to. I had no choice.
Okay.
My mom, that was one of the things she instilled in all of us, like education. That's a non-negotiable for us. So, we really made sure, we had to do what we had to do in school. Or it was going to be, not the best when we came home.
Problem. Let's say it. It's going to be a problem.
So,
now, did you have a favorite teacher at any level?
Yes, I did. I would say I did have favorite teachers at all levels, but I would say my most all-time favorite teacher was my second grade teacher.
Yeah.
At the time,
her name. Who's your second grade teacher?
Yeah, I know. At the time, her name was Miss Kotler, but I believe she got married, so I believe it's Miss Castellano.
Okay.
So shout out to you, Castellano, if you ever see this. But man, she really just made me feel seen. She did a lot of stuff. She went above and beyond, that a regular teacher does. I remember countless times she knew my mom had to get to work, but our school wasn't accepting kids yet. So she'll take me and my siblings and let us just fill in her classroom until it was for students to come on campus. Taking me out to, restaurants, with her family, stuff I've never seen before, never did before. She really exposed me to those things. And it was like, that was the first time I ever seen somebody do that outside of my family, so that's what really stuck with me. And I, hold on to that forever because it was just that true love from somebody outside of your family. Once you see that for the first time, it's like, oh wow, like it really is good people in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Do you still keep in touch with her?
Yes. So we are Facebook friends, she see my updates and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Proud to see me as a teacher, and things like that. She's actually a guidance counselor still in Hillsborough County. So I definitely often, keep in contact and just, we just update each other and make sure, everybody good and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. It's one of the coolest things. Where I grew up at in Hartford, I have some colleagues that are still in the school system, that was in the school system when I came up. My most favorite person of all time was my guidance counselor. And she's still a counselor now in high school. But the thing that gets me now is, and you're not going to experience this yet because you're still kind of young, is that I now have students of mine, former students of mine when I was a teacher, that are now teachers too. Yeah. And that now keep in touch that way. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure.
So glad that you had a favorite teacher. You had a favorite subject. How'd you get into teaching in general? When did you know that you wanted to become a teacher?
Man, it was a crazy ride. I'm not even gonna lie, because when I first started, I wanted nothing to do with teaching. That wasn't even on my radar. Mm-hmm. I was looking at business stuff, and as a kid, out of high school, trying to figure out what you wanted to do, one of the things on my mind was money. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I went through all the things. At first, I was like, I wanted to be an accountant. I was like a financial advisor, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. But when I sat in that business class, it didn't do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, even though I was younger, I knew, you know what I'm saying? I knew what I was looking for. I knew I was looking for something that gives me that spark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, was this business class in high school, or was this business class in college?
This was a business class in college. And it was crazy because in high school, at my high school, I went to a magnet high school, and the focus program was finance. Okay. So I'm thinking, I'm about to get into business, finance, and things like that. But when I got to college, it didn't do anything for me. So honestly, what I had to do is I really had to do some reflecting. And when I think about it, I was like, man, I always liked helping the teacher, grading assignments, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. So I was like, I'm going to try teaching. But I think for me, it was like I had to get out of my head that I'm looking for money. I had to start looking at, what do I love? What do I want to do? And once I did that, the rest was history. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing better than finding your passion in life.
I really think that's so true. Like, don't get me wrong. We know teaching got its challenges. You know what I'm saying? But when you love what you're doing, you're really passionate, it keeps you going, so.
Yeah. Now, how did it start for you as a teacher? So you said, okay, I'm in college, I want to switch my major, I want to go be a teacher. How'd you end up teaching, and what grade levels did you teach initially?
Yeah, so okay, when I first graduated college, I started subbing first. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to be sure, that this is the work I really wanted to be in, because I knew I wanted to, help people, but I wasn't sure about what avenue, I wanted to go in. So I was subbing for half a year. I subbed fifth grade.
Subbing is hard. Okay, sixth grade. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because even though I was there consistently from January to May for half of the year, it was always like, of course, some people are like, "You're not the real teacher," and things like that. But it was a rewarding experience. So that was fifth grade. I did.
Okay.
And then after that, I jumped in. So the assistant principal there at the time where I was subbing, she had got moved to another school.
Okay.
And she saw how great I was, and she was like, "I want you to come where I'm at." So
Yep.
then I followed her, and then that's when I started doing third grade reading.
Yep.
And then the rest was history. Like, actually, that assistant principal, I had followed her everywhere that she had went. I taught at the one school with her, and she left school, went to another school. She just kept asking me to come with her, and it's like, I'm like, hey, if you see the greatness in me, why not?
Why
What I'm
not?
saying?
Why not? Is she still around now too?
No, she is still around. She not in our district no more. She
Okay.
moved kind of up north in our in the state of Florida. But we still keep in contact for sure.
Well, what's her name? Shout her out too. Let's do it.
Definitely Natalie Corsonico. She's the AP. So yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for all you did.
Okay, no problem. We like to shout out people. So you ended up with Mr. Jackson, Corey Jackson.
Yeah.
Corey Jackson and I go a while
Mr.
back.
Jackson.
Yeah, he
Corey
loved STEM
Jackson,
school.
yeah.
His son went to a STEM school that I was principal of for one of my times. So Corey's cool. How'd you end up in his school?
So I was at Lockhart already. So again, that assistant principal that I was just talking about, she was principal. She had been principal at Lockhart, but she ended up leaving. Her and her family, they moved. And then we had a principal opening, and Corey, he got the position. And we've been rocking for the past 3 years.
Got you. And you ended up being recognized last year.
Yeah.
What you get recognized for? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so in our district, we have an award called the Ida S. Baker of the Year. So I really won that. That is really like the Diversity Educator of the Year. And it's really highlighting teachers who really show and display equitable practices for, all the kids on our campus, meeting all the needs of the kids on our campus, and not just, being confined to just their classroom. Really, what I'm saying? There's so many things, even if you are a classroom teacher, there's so many ways you can, make yourself out there and really help all students on campus. I remember when I was a classroom teacher, I would spend my planning period, when I'm already caught up, like I would go visit other classrooms just to, see all the different kids on campus, connect with them, get to know them, let them see somebody else, outside of their regular teacher. So
now, so let's talk about that for a second, because one, you're a black male, right?
Yes. Yep.
Well, I guess that's two. You're black and you're a male. Talk about the responsibility and what it feels like to be in front of kids. And let's say the majority of your school is over 90% black. Talk about that.
So, it has its challenges, right? I would say, building relationships for me is key. Building relationships for me is key, because once you build relationships, that really sets the tone, right? Students will pretty much do anything for somebody who they know truly care. They love them. They want to see them, successful.
You said it. Truly care. Yep. Keep going.
Yeah, like I would say, sometimes it can be hard because as one of the few black men on campus, I'm often seen as the disciplinarian. So sometimes when you are dealing with certain students, it's like, man, I'm really trying to build a relationship with you, but you also keep coming to me because you're in trouble. So it's like you can never see the other side of me. You know what I'm saying? The cool side, the fun side, because I always have to be this disciplinarian. So it kind of gets hard and tricky, there too. But I always feel like I gotta perform. You know what I'm saying? people don't always feel like, being black. They don't always feel like you know what you're talking about. So I gotta always try and outperform, make sure, you know what I'm saying, I'm just on my P's and Q's. Because people will nitpick and pick out any little mistake. It's almost like you can't mess up,
Right.
and if you mess up, then it becomes this whole big thing, so that's kind of how it is.
I feel you. Some of the pressures of it, I've gone through a lot of that myself, coming through as well, man. But give me something that's really rewarding. What's the best part of going to work every day at Lockhart?
Man, I'm not even gonna lie to kids. It's something different every day. You know what I'm saying? Besides the behavior or whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? Just those little things, like a kid finally got something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a kid they had a better day than what they had yesterday. I'm a firm believer of giving kids a new chance every single day. You know what I'm saying? Because they're still trying to figure out life too. You know what I'm saying? In their little brains. But that's really what it is. Seeing those little things. I also, me being a reading coach, I'm also on the leadership team. So I work closely with admin. So as I'm walking around in different reading classes, like really seeing those teachers who really are hard down teaching, you know what I'm saying? That's what also, fuels me, because it's like you're getting this good instruction. You know what I'm saying? And I know as a teacher, I always made sure I gave top-notch, high-quality instruction. So it's like when you see that from other people, it's like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what feels like.
What's one of the and trust me, I love it. Relationship building, the kids. It's all about the kids. If you go to work every day and you work around kids and you're not smiling or you're not fulfilled, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you.
For sure.
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
What's one of the roughest things about going to school every day? One of the hardest things about going to work?
So when we think about like 2025, we talk about how every year the kids get tougher and tougher and tougher, and I'm gonna spin it back to the kids, right?
Yeah.
So kids and adults, I'll say. So the kids, I think the hardest part with working with kids now is really teaching them how to have conflict resolution, right? And how to really handle their emotions. I feel like a lot of the kids that we serve, they're so quick to, you know what I'm saying, I want to attack. Physical violence is that's the answer, you know what I'm saying? So teaching them different avenues, you know what I'm saying? Not only just, while they're there in elementary, but that's going to take them, you know what I'm saying, far in life, on how to resolve conflict effectively. But again, being black, being a black man at that, working with adults is not always the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like we were talking about earlier, always feeling like you have to outperform, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I'm going to do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, I'm an outwork, you know what I'm saying? But it's just the pressure of feeling like, you know what I'm saying, somebody always, are going to nitpick or something like that. Like, that can become mentally like draining.
Yeah, and I think that's the pressure. I'm glad you said that. Well, I'm not glad you said that. We don't want it to be mentally draining, but I'm glad you brought that up because, one, I'll go back for a second to the kids in SEL and the fact that we have to have so much more conflict resolution because our world is so driven by drama. And seeing kids at this young age in elementary always wanting to solve conflict with violence, not always and not all kids, of course, but that's something that's disheartening for sure. And then on the adult side, just having to deal with difficulty there too, and always trying to prove that you're in this role for a position. I mean, I would go there. You're young. And to be a reading coach in a school and telling other folks what to do, that has to be tasking sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does a teacher like you go to work every day and keep your sanity? What do you do to relax and make sure you're your best? Is it something with diet? Is it something with habit? Do you do something outside of work?
Yeah, so my biggest thing, I'm a big family person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, being around my family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And not just my blood family. You know what I'm saying? People who I acquired over the years, who you know what I'm saying, who have come into my family. You know what I'm saying? Just being around them. You know what I'm saying? Laughing. You know what I'm saying? Just
yeah,
that good energy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But always, going places. You know what I'm saying? Here and there. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just like, all right, I'm just gonna go walk for a second. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I just need to be in my thoughts and just calm down. Things like that. So I'm not a person that just do one specific thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I do different things. You know what I'm saying, to keep me going. You got to.
Yeah, this world is hard. You got to do things. I'm a big
Yeah.
proponent of eating right, traveling, exercising, walking is one of the healthiest things that you can do.
Yeah.
So glad you mentioned that as well. Now, there's certain topics in education right now that are really, really big, and one of
Yeah.
them is AI. So let's
Yeah.
talk about AI. Are you
Yeah.
on a you're AI elementary, but how do you use AI? How do you feel about AI? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think it can enhance, student learning. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it can, but
Mhm.
I think what we really have to do is we really have to ensure that it's being used effectively.
Okay.
I'm not sure how our district will really go about doing that because we're such a large district. You know what I'm saying? We're the seventh largest in the nation, so
Okay.
it's a big district when talking about district wide. But I do think it can be used effectively, but the thing about it is it's like, how do we get all teachers on board, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, to use it in an effective way and really getting students to understand, like, hey, this is a support resource. You know what I'm saying? This is a resource. This is not your end all be all. This is not your answer key.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we gotta really train students, you know what I'm saying, to understand on how this is properly used. um I do think, you know what I'm saying, the older kids, I don't know, older kids, they might already be like, okay, I'm just going to use this for my answer. Not all of them, but,
Mhm.
some of them might be like that. But I think if we, how it's coming out right now, I really do think, like, if we start at the elementary level and continue as they're progressing throughout their, you know what I'm saying, grade school career, I do think
Yeah.
it can be used to some benefit for sure.
So I mean, it's one of those things where you got a couple of uses, right? You got
Yeah.
as a staff member, as a teacher, as an educator, I could use it to make things easier for me, right? We're
Yeah.
all using it anyway in different. I'm using it on this platform. Somebody asked me for a resume not too long ago. We're using it to help me write that resume. Well, not that resume. I'm sorry, that recommendation by using their
Yeah.
resume and AI and whatnot. And then you got the other side of it where kids can use it for certain things, like you said, the older kids, they can use it to answer a question. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you can use it to help you frame the answer for a question and go back and edit it. I think it's a useful tool for all
Yeah,
of us.
for
We
sure.
just got to get ahead of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Um, Let me ask you this: it's because some of the things are going away. Cursive or no cursive?
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a cursive. I'm gonna say cursive, and the reason why is because I know that when I was in grade school, I learned cursive. That's where I learned cursive at. And I do think, and I'm not saying that. My thing is, it don't have to be no full blown out. We got to do a cursive lesson every single day. I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying that, but I think that students should at least know how to write each alphabet in cursive, so that way when it is time, like, come on now, when we asking for a signature
That's
in,
it, though. Is that it? That's the only time it's with a signature, right?
that is the only time. That's the only time. But I do think, if we asking for a signature, I do think that people should at least be able to do that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you. It shouldn't be
That's
feeling.
the basic. So
Okay.
if you just teach them how to write in cursive each alphabet, I'm cool on that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
better
Because
idea.
now at this point, you know how to do your signature.
All right, I got another one. Calculators or no calculators?
I'm gonna say it depends on that one. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it. I'm gonna say it depends. Honestly, I'm not. When it comes to, I think elementary, no calculators.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no calculators because I think that in elementary, like I think we really are building a foundation. So I think it teaches them really how to critically think about how to solve this problem without calculating. But I do think that in middle school and secondary, I do think that calculators are needed, just because the problems become more complex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
More complex. And as long as you know how to formula it, then
right. But it's like in elementary, I want to see, you know what I'm saying, if you have that foundation to even solve this problem, if you know what you're doing at all.
All right. I'm just not a proponent of long division. Don't give me long division in elementary. Let's not waste people's time with 20 problems on long division when at the end of the day, I'm going to use a calculator when I get older, or tax amount is going to be there for me. What platform or what things do you have in your classroom or that you've seen that make a difference?
It's so much stuff. Like, when we think about student engagement, Kahoot for sure. Like, Kahoot. If you got Kahoot for sure, like that, it's gonna be a 10 out of 10. The lesson is gonna automatically be a 10 out of 10 because the excitement. You know what I'm saying? Kids love it. Like, it's gonna take your lesson to that level. And I mean, I've used it in writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was for vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that like you can't use it, but like they don't have to read a text, but they can answer like that academic vocabulary.
It doesn't have to be. I use it with adults, and there's so many more things that Kahoot could do, not just quizzing and playing games with it as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so another one that I seen teachers do, it used to be called Flipgrid. Sorry, Flipgrid. I don't know if teachers still use it, but that was something I used in my classroom. Like, students were able to video record their response, and not only that, they were able to go on, listen to other students and respond to them. Like, I felt like that was another, like, okay, student engagement. You know what I'm saying? Then it gives me an opportunity to see, like, if students really understand, because sometimes they can't write it out, but they can orally say it. So it was like, okay, now I see. Now I'm meeting the needs of different learners. So that was those two things for sure. I've seen.
I like Flipgrid too. I've used Flipgrid as an adult as well. And the thing that I try to do is use different platforms and get to know them as an adult, so I can use it with my principals or my teachers, so then they in turn use it with the kids.
For sure. That's the goal.
I'm going to ask you about your top. Now, I know you're kind of on the younger side, right?
Yeah.
But you got some knowledge and you are a teacher.
Yeah.
Your top 5 TV shows or movies about school.
It's crazy because, like, when I seen that question, I was like, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, man, like 5? I'm like, I don't really know, but
you don't know 5?
No, 5. I got 5 now.
We're gonna go 5. We're gonna start with 5 and go down. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so I got Lean on Me.
So Lean on Me is 5.
No, Lean on Me. Huh?
Lean on Me is number 5. We're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. You want me to go like that? Okay. All right. So, all right. At number 5, I got Matilda.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I got Matilda.
Why Matilda?
See, I had to pull that one. I had to pull a lot.
That's a good one.
That is a good one, though. That's a classic. That's a classic.
Yeah. Okay. Why Matilda?
All right.
What's the classic?
Number 4. Oh, Matilda. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what I'll say is, all these movies that I'm saying, all of them have a common theme. All of them had somebody who truly cared and went above and beyond.
For sure.
And that's the type of teacher I am. You know what I'm saying? I do more than what is required as a teacher. So that's why I picked all these movies.
All right, let's go 4.
Okay, so number 4, I got Akeelah and the Bee.
Nice.
All right. So, again, she had somebody that pushed her. You know what I'm saying? Without that, she probably wouldn't have did what she did.
I feel you. Spelling.
And
that launched her. That made her career just take off from there. Actually, that might have been the first movie she had.
Yeah, so that was like, that's a good one too.
Okay,
so I had to throw that one in there.
All right.
3. Number 3, and I'm gonna say number 3 and number 2, they honestly like a tie for real. Okay. So, but number 3, I'm gonna say Coach Carter.
Yep. All right, Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
Number 2, Freedom Writers.
Freedom Writers. Now, Freedom Writers was it was one of the women. See, I got two women in my head. I got Michelle Pfeiffer in my head, and I got the other one in my head. But Freedom Writers, they were in class writing books. Do you know who the lead character in Freedom Writers was?
I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was.
$1 Million Baby. Maybe that was her. Anyway, why Freedom Writers?
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of those kids was coming from adversity. You know what I'm saying? They were in gangs. You know what I'm saying? Violence was the answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she truly worked with them. You know what I'm saying? To let them know that that wasn't the only avenue. There are other avenues, and when you get your education, you see that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like she unlocked that potential in them. Just, you know, that love and that care. And then number 1, 10 out of 10, recommend Lean on Me.
So we going with Lean on Me again. Now, you know, I've heard that before, of course. But Lean on Me. Why Lean on Me?
Man, honestly, you know, I want to be an administrator. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm working on.
Okay.
Okay. And honestly, to see a principal, you know what I'm saying, turn around a school when it was so many people who thought he couldn't do it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then to see the kids, like the kids are wanting this person back in their school. Like, y'all thought the kids didn't want him here, but they are doing everything in their power to ensure that he stays. You know what I'm saying? So right there, that shows me what this man has did for this school.
Yeah. He went a little extra with it. He went a little extra with it, with the bullhorn in the back and the locking the doors and all that. But I get it. Yeah. Sometimes you got to make people uncomfortable.
But I think that's what it is. I think a lot of people now, even today, I feel like a lot of people shy away from being uncomfortable. But that's the only way we truly grow, is if you go through that uncomfortable stage.
Okay. So I feel you. Lean on Me, number 1, and you want to be an administrator. So eventually you want to run your own school.
Yeah. So that's the goal. I'm already I completed everything. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm just waiting on the right time, waiting on the right principle. You know,
hold up, let's go. Let's slow down again. 7 years? You've been in this for 7 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know there's a trajectory, right?
Yeah.
There's a trajectory. You go to the classroom. You go to be a coach. You go to be an AP. Right? You got to stretch those years out. How long do you plan on doing this thing?
Yeah, being an AP?
No, just being in education, period. Like, how long do you plan to work before you retire?
If the Lord see fit, I'm going to at least do my full 30 years.
I got you.
I'm going to at least do my full 30 years.
So you want to be in your role now, probably about 10 years, and then be an AP, and then be a principal.
Yep.
Nothing further than that. No central office work, no superintendent.
You know, I gotta see how that works. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about me is, I love being with the kids. You know what I'm saying? I like being there in the practical work.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we gotta see, you know, what happens, what flows best. You know what I'm saying? What works best for me. You know, so.
Yeah, I feel you. So, if you had any advice to give any young person coming out of school, because let's talk about this for a second. We are Black men, and it's hard. We don't see a lot of minority teachers at all coming into education. But if you had some advice given a young person, anybody coming into education, what would you tell them?
Man, I feel like if you're coming into education, I think first and foremost, you gotta find a group of people who really truly want to see you win. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get to any school, you know what I'm saying, you could have so many people who may not want to see you win, but if you have those people who want to see you win, whether they're at your school or not, those are going to be the people that's going to help carry you throughout this journey. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find people who, you know, can give you tips and tricks, you know what I'm saying, in order to really navigate through. You know, and if they're at the same campus, that's always a bonus. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it don't always work out like that. So definitely, you got to find people that really is willing to mentor you. I always tell people to shy away from people who talk negatively about education, because that's all you're going to get from them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find people that's still passionate about it who want to do the work, who understand that it comes with its challenges. You know what I'm saying? But still try and find ways to, get ahead of that, to continue to do what's best for kids. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the kids.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there anything that you are currently reading or watching or listening to that keeps your mind afloat, whether it's about personal stuff or it's about education? Anything you could recommend?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely shout out to Principal Kafele.
Yep.
I tuned into his Saturday Academy. With me wanting to be aspiring administrator, I definitely tuned into his Saturday Academy, to just build knowledge around that. And so that way when I do get into that position, you know what I'm saying, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So definitely tuning into his Saturday session.
All right. Well, listen, man, it's been a blast having you on, Daquan, man. Thank you for taking the time to drop some knowledge on teachers, man. Good luck to you and the rest of the year. I know the school year just started over at Lockhart, but I know you're going to be doing great things. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you. Always appreciate it.
All right. That's a wrap on today's episode. We're grateful for your time and attention. If you know a teacher with a story to share, reach out to us at teach1p@gmail.com or find us on social media. Of course, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, great teachers change lives, one student at a time. See you next episode. Until then, teach one.